Right, so in this video we're going to take a look at JavaScript dates. So let's get started in the usual way and create a new folder. So I'm just going to duplicate the mini challenge from the last video and call this dates. And then open up your text editor and then drag the dates folder in there. Okay, so now the title is going to be JavaScript dates. And we can just delete the code from the last video between the script tags. Okay, so just to begin with, we're going to start with a simple way of creating a new date object. And we can store that inside a variable. So start by creating a variable and you can call it whatever you want. I'm going to call mine show date. And then we need to set that equal to a new date. And you need to put brackets after that. And then we can use a document.write or any other method which you prefer to show the variable of show date. So put that in between the brackets and then a semicolon. And there we go. So now we'll get the full date printed on the browser. And you'll obviously get a different date on there, depending on what day you're watching this video and your time zone. So using this date object, it gives us the current day, the month, the day of the month, the year, the current time, and then the time zone. Okay, so this format is pretty long, and often we don't want all this information. So I'm going to show you next some get and set methods, and they're pretty much what they sound like. A get method is used for getting a certain part of the date. So we can get the individual hours, we can get the individual day, or the seconds, or the time. And then we can also use set methods, which are used for setting a part of the date, such as set the current time or set the current date. So let's start by taking a look at the get methods. So each one of these get methods I'm going to show you, I'm going to store inside a variable. So to start with, I'm going to set the variable called date and then set that equal to a new date, starting with a capital D, and then the brackets. So now we've got the current date. We can split that up into the day of the month. And again, it doesn't matter what you call these variables, just make them descriptive. So I'm going to set that equal to the date variable that we created. And then paste that in, and then use dot, and then get date. And you can actually see off the autocomplete there, this will give you an idea of what we're about to do. So get date, and the semicolon at the end. So we're creating a new date object, and then we're just getting a individual property each time. So I'm just going to duplicate that line, and this time I'm going to call it the day of week. And then this time it's date dot get day. And then to get the month, let's create a new variable of month. And you can probably guess what we're about to do here. So it's date dot get month. We can also get the current year with get year. And by the way, you can either just copy and paste these, or I'm using Command or Control D to duplicate in brackets. If the text editor you're using doesn't duplicate, just copy and paste. So after the year, we can get the hours with get hours. And then minutes, date.get minutes. And then the last one I want to show you is the seconds. So date.get seconds. Okay. So we'll just comment out these 2 lines there, we don't need them. So now we've got all these variables created, and we may want to just use certain parts of the date. For example, we may want to create a string such as today's date is, and then put the day, the month and the year. So let's give that a go. So let's do a document dot write, and then between the quotations I'm going to create a string of today's date is, and then a colon, and I'll put these on separate lines so it's a little bit more readable. So we want to show the day, and then the month, and then the year. So if we wanted to display this in the browser just as it is, we can put some HTML break tags in there, and then end the string on there, and then we need to concatenate to join the strings. So use the plus symbol. So because each one of these words is a string, surround them in the quotes, and the same with the year. And it's pretty simple to do this. So we've got the day string with a space, and then plus, and then the day is the variable called day of week. So we can join that onto the end of there. The month, we need to join on the variable name of month. And then the year, simply add the year. So you can see our code is pretty readable now because we've used descriptive variable names. So make sure you do that when you can. And then lastly, we just need to add onto the end a break tag just so they're on separate lines, and then another join at the end. And the break tag needs to be displayed like that. And then do it on the next line too. So copy that, and then just bring this up onto the next line so we can see better, and we don't need that. And then finish that with a semicolon. So we started off a string there, today's date is, we'll put a break tag in to get onto the next line, and then we're going to have 3 separate lines which display the day, the month and the current year. So let's save that and see if that works okay in the browser. So refresh that. So we've got the today's date is, the day number, the month number, and the year is 116, so we need to change that. So we've done the year. So we need to put the get full year into there. And there we go, so it's 2016 now. Okay, so I hope that makes sense. And I'm just going to comment this section out now. And these are the get methods. And I want to move now on to set methods, which are used to set the date. So let's begin with a new variable called setDate. And just as above, we're going to set that equal to a new date. And then we can set certain parts of the date. So if we wanted to set the current month, we could use the setName variable, and then dot, and then we need to set the month, and then place the month that you want to set inside the brackets. So we can set that as 11, for example. And then if we wanted to set the year, again use the setDate variable, and then dot set full year, and you can set that to whatever you like. So I'm going to put in 2020, and you can see that these are pretty similar to the ones that we used above. We're just replacing get with set. And then let's check it's working with a document write. And then inside document write, we're going to use the setDate variable. Okay, so we take a closer look there. You can see that we've got the month of December. We put in the 11th month, which is actually the last value because the set month goes from 0 to 11. So 11 would be December. And we set the full year to be 2020. And you can see that inside the browser there. And we haven't touched the time, so that's the current time and time zone there. There we go, so I hope that makes sense. Do have a little play around with what we've just looked at. And thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next video.